Hi guys, good evening. So this is just actually a very short tutorial, not much like a tutorial, maybe a guide or just some instructions on how it might be easier for you to um, finish this. To finish this week one, I know week one is actually finished, but I mean never say never, and you can basically still submit all your projects as long as it's before the fourth week. So yeah, these are just some guidelines that I actually wrote out. Basically, this applies to anything you really want to do in a way. Because funny enough, just last 2 weeks, I think we were learning UML, that Unified Modeling Language in school. I mean, computer engineering. So and then we talked about flowcharts and algorithms and all that. So basically, and this especially if you don't have like a tech background, um, before you can actually do anything, just okay, let's bring that out of tech. Let's say you want to let's say you want to have an event. Yes, you can't just say okay, I want to have a birthday party and then boom, it's birthday party. You have to plan which people are going to come there, what am I going to buy, what am I going to cook, is there going to be food or just snack, do I have enough money for this and that. So basically these are the schematics of your event, what you want to have to do. So in products or in producing a software or something related to that, you have to have an algorithm. So algorithm is one, and another thing is a flow chart. Most people don't really do flow chart, but one thing is that it helps your work actually to be easier. So it helps you um, know what you want to do, and just it's just like a guideline, like a step of okay, from this is the next thing that will happen, from this is the next thing that will happen, so like that. So I've actually written some things on my laptop, and I'm going to be reading out some of them. So the first thing is the smart contract design. So you want to design your whole the system. What are you going to be having? So from this week one, we've actually been learning about basic things and smart contracts. Like I said, I'm still up. We're all learning about this. So the first thing you define is that after initiating your pragma version and all that, the first thing is to define your contract, the name of your contract, which is going to contain the state variables and functions and all that. So let's say now we are building for smart contract. I understand that there are some other options. I'm actually on the option for smart contract, so I'm not in product design, or I think UI UX is the next one. That's why I've asked it. So for smart contract, what you want to do is to define your contract. And since we are building, one of the first of the things we are building is the voting system. So you can say contract. I know this is somehow funny because it's code and I'm talking. Like I told you, I have exams and I have a lot of things to read. So initially, I wanted to like do a whole screencast, writing the code and some of that, but I can't really do that because of time and all that. I just want to rush and finish this and go back to some other things I need to apply to and then read it. So first you need to define your smart contract. Let's say that the name of your contract is going to be um, voting system or my voting app or my voting machine. So you need to define. I understand that we already know how to define contract, right? So you just do contract and space the name of your contract and then that curly braces. So that curly braces, whatever you're going to write in your variables, your functions, your modifiers, everything is going to be inside that. So after designing your contract, so basically the first step, you should note it down, defining your smart contract. So you have to design it. What you have to scale it. Is it going to? I remember it's a simple design they actually asked us to do. So it should be like, is there going to be voter registration in this contract I'm writing? Is there going to be voter validation? Is there going to be candidate? Candidates is like for example, you have political parties in Nigeria, so be like, okay, let's register PDP, APC, all of that. So are they going to register from this contract? Are we just going to define them and just have like a very static array, because you can use array or struct to that's a structured data type to define that. So after that, you name your state variables. So state variables is all the variables that is going to be accessible throughout your smart contract. So like we learned in if you took the tutorials point material, we have learned some things about variables, and other state variable. Then you learn about public, internal, external, and other. So, excuse me. So the next thing is state variable. So here you're going to be defining the things that are going to be accessed within your contract. Now you know that the voters are going to be accessed within your contract. You know that the political parties or the candidates that they are voting for is going to be accessed within your contract. So you want to make those things available. Okay, this is very similar to scope. So 2 years ago I was learning robotic process automation RPA. So and I think in some other languages there is something called scope. So scope is like um, the boundary of any variable you are defining. Where is this thing going to be found? Is let's say we create a function. Is this function this function, is it going to be accessed outside of this function, or is it going to be able to be accessed outside only within that function? So that's something like scope, just like defining the level of it. And then the next thing is your voting mechanism. How is this voting going to be conducted? Are people going to register on it, and or everything is already sorted out, and then just basically how you want it? I mean, you are the boss here, anyhow you define it. And then the next thing is modifiers. Like modifiers is a type of function, just like read in the tutorials point. So you set your modifiers and your events. So events is very similar to JavaScript. Even though you don't know JavaScript, you can still learn this. You must not know JavaScript, but those that know JavaScript, it will be like an edge for them. I don't really know JavaScript, and now that I'm seeing it a lot of things, I'm like I have to learn this bad guy. So and then your constructor. I mean, we have been seeing constructor in all the codes that we've been learning with tutorials point, because constructor is basically that key that construct the framework of the contract, just like the logic that initiates the logic, something like that. And the next thing, so how the vote is going to be, the voting count. So this voting is basically, it's by increment. Okay, you may not know, but if you are familiar with coding, you know the thing called incrementing. So incrementing is just increasing a value by one, and it's usually, let's say that this variable is named x. So if you write x plus plus, it's basically incrementing the level that variable by one upon each iteration. So this is not basically telling you this is what you should write, but this is giving you an overview of how you can get this done. And then the next thing is, okay, so this is basically, because we're only working on the smart contract section, that's the back end sort of. So we don't necessarily need to, I believe, we don't necessarily need to, that for the scope of this learning, to create a front end to it, like a web page that people can go out and like actually see the whole thing and vote. So basically in software development, there is always the front end and the back end. And yeah, so working with Remix IDE is actually very easy, because I think maybe I should do a tutorial on Remix. I don't know if we are very familiar with the environment already. It's actually a pretty easy environment to use. So, but there's something I did, and I think I'll try to turn my screen to my laptop. So there was something that I did while I was in school. I think that was on Friday. So I set up, I downloaded an extension to my PC, a Solidity extension, because I usually use this VS Code, that's Visual Studio Code for coding. So I checked for Solidity extension, and I downloaded it. And so the thing is that maybe some of us that may not have network around our houses, or maybe does not have enough data to always be online, because that might be the one downside of the Remix IDE, because it's web based and you have to always be online using it, and you can do it with your phone, but it will be hard. Seriously, I've tried it. It's not very easy. So I think the best thing is to use your PC. So, but you can use this. So let me show you what I might throw this window. So let me show you what I'm gonna put. Okay, I've actually turned on my VS Code But I think it will just make this video very long, because I mean the purpose of this video basically is to help us understand how to work around this project. That's the voting system project, and then there's another one of the banking system. But so I think I'll probably make a separate video on how to use Remix IDE, and from then I can now say, okay, I can now make and extend the video to how to actually work with Solidity on your local machine. But one thing is that, remember, if you actually want to test your contract or actually deploy anything, you have to be online. So even if you write the program offline, when you actually want to like check if it's working or all, you have to be online, and you would probably want to use Remix because it's very beginner friendly and just straightforward. So I think this is all about how to go about this project, and and you can actually apply what you get from this in working for the banking system. So it's basically designing your framework. If you want to do a framework, that's cool. That's so there's this software used in engineering, Raptor, but it's not really necessary. There's I checked on Google Play Store, and I was able to download one that you can use on your mobile phone. So basically, just type. So basically, on Play Store, just search for um, flowchart. You check flowchart, and then you get different options, and then you can choose the one that you want to work with. So flowchart and algorithm. You may not necessarily write an algorithm if you are not familiar with writing algorithm, but just have basic definitions of what you want to achieve. I think it will help you very well in building, because I mean, if you don't know where you are going, how will you even know when you get there? This is my favorite quote from one of my favorite quotes from um, the monk who sold his Ferrari. That's Robin Sharma. So I think this is the end of this video, and it's 12 minutes. I'm happy that it was not so long. So I hope this was able to help you in any way. You can leave your comments in the comment section if you have questions, maybe something you don't understand, or you want me to cover any other part of this blockchain journey, and I'll be sure to give a response. Thank you very much, and do leave a like button if you like the video, and see you soon.